Hello everybody, welcome back to NLC Division 2. We've got a series on our hands. We've got Munster up against Nativz, 1-0, and two very different games, M-Test.
Yeah, no, for sure. It looked... this game was, for sure a lot closer than the first game, right? But the fact that Rugby, after that rough first game, and after that completely rough early game as well, in the... or like at least early stages of the early game, in the second game, managed to kind of make a comeback there and decide to... they closed out the game quite comfortably, right? So it just shows that they're not here to just get 0-3, right? They have like the mental fortitude to bring this home. And now, as I said, we have a series on our hands. So it's going to be interesting to see because we mentioned before this game that the ball was kind of in Rugby's court. They have to change something now. It's going to be kind of interesting because you could say that the ball is in Nativ's corner now, but they have decided to choose blue side again. So what they could do, they could just run it back as they did in the first game and see if it works out again, or they could look to change something up. It's going to be interesting to see.
That's the question, because you've got to really wonder where it went so wrong for Nativz, because at the end of the game, it was very confident for Munster Rugby. It was a confident win for them. So Nativz are going to have to make a change. The question being, it can't really be the early game because Nativz won that. It looked good. They denied so many resources. Their fighting looked pretty strong. But I can't really picture this is where the game went wrong in mid-game for Nativz. It was just Munster Rugby, by and large, just playing better as a unit.
Yeah, maybe... I feel like one plan could be to maybe send someone over to Stumpy's house and like unplug his internet cable. Like that could be something because this guy is just popping off. Even in the Gragas game where he was absorbing so much pressure, he was up in form and he was doing well. So this guy is just completely popping off the series. I hope that maybe that could be something to attack because from what I saw, he played mostly tanks. But in this series, he played Gragas, he's played Urgot now, which is kind of a carry, right? It's kind of a bruiser. And I feel like his champion pool is wide enough that they can't really attack it. But maybe just the Urgot in this case, maybe that could be something to attack his champion pool. I have no clue, man. But they have to make a decision, that's for sure.
Maybe it will be a case of them. Both games, we've kind of seen both teams playing around the bot side and looking for that to be the location for a lot of the work that's being done. Maybe you need to look as Nativz and say, right, bot side, you're on your own, Yopper Clocks, we trust you, we believe in you, we love you. But let's move up to the top side. Let's get these really good Ari roams up towards Stumpy. Let's get these jungle gangs from stuff like the Java in the early game. We're going to go kill the Urgot. We're going to give him the Urgot, but then we're going to make it unplayable because you're going to lose 2 or 3 lives. You're going to lose your tower at 12 minutes in, and we're going to make this very unpleasant. Because if the Urgot doesn't get ahead in that matchup, you've got a Gangplank who's going to be able to 1v1 him in the side lane, which is the exact opposite of what happened. The Urgot was monstrous in team fights and in lane, and Lundorf on the Gangplank couldn't really do anything because he would just die immediately. Yeah. So that could be a solution, certainly. But whether Stumpy can we know that Stumpy's a great tank player. If they're like, okay, we're just going to pick champions and send them all top, he can be like, cool, I'm on duty this game. I'm playing Malphite this game. I really couldn't care less if you kill me twice because I'm going to still be able to give my team so much priority in team fights that it's irrelevant. So it's difficult. It's going to be an interesting one to see how Nativz decide to play out this next game and what Munster want to do in order to facilitate themselves grabbing a second win.
Yeah, and this is why best of fives are so fun, right? They're so fun compared to best of ones. Of course, best of ones, they have their own charm, but the best of fives, they just really get into it. They have to now decide whether to like target Stumpy. There's so many things you can do, but you have to decide for the one. You kind of have to. It's kind of like solving a puzzle in this best of 5. Like now, the both teams are 1-1, so you could say it's just 0-0, right? It's a best of 3, pretty much. Actually, not really. That's not how it works. But it's kind of like solving a puzzle, and once you solve the puzzle of the enemy team, because no team, like not even SKT, they can play like every single thing perfectly, right? So once if they do decide, I have no clue what it is that they're gonna do, but if they solve the puzzle, that is like just this, as you said, right? They could maybe look to put some worries onto top, and it's gonna be a bit difficult this game, right? Because they're on blue side. Stumpy could just counterpick his matchup, and they could be happy with it. But Lundorf, he did play so well on this Ornn. I'm going to mention it again. It's going to be banned out once again from Munster. And maybe they're saying now that Lundorf, this is the only tank that you can play. Now you kind of force into a carry even though you're on blue side. And Stumpy is happy with that, right? He can play whatever he wants into it. Renata, though, coming in as a ban, and that means that Jinx is still open. That's what Joppa popped off with in game 1.
Yeah.
I guess they're just gonna go for it.
I mean, the obvious response here would be something like the Aphelios. You can go for the Hecarim and you go for Nautilus as well. The Renata ban maybe shows that direction, but of course, the Karma wasn't banned away for the first time in this series, so most likely going to be going to the hands of Baloo. But hey, Chimera, Stumpy, it could also go their direction as well.
Yeah, it could. We're just gonna assume that this probably gonna go Baloo 5, right? But could potentially be a flex as well, as you mentioned. And this combo is just obviously super strong. This kind of puts a lot of pressure on Nativz to like really try to shut down this Hecarim in the early stage of the game. If he can get rolling with his Karma, he's gonna be kind of like Stumpy last game. I know we talk a lot about him, but he deserved it, man. If Hecarim is unkillable, he can dish out a lot of damage. I hope that it's gonna be a lock-in on the Swain, but I really doubt it. The Graves lock-in though coming in, and Silas is gonna be able to keep up and farm with Gabush and gonna kind of out-tempo him in the early to mid game.
Yeah, we're gonna see what's gonna be locked in. It's actually gonna be a swap round to the LeBlanc. It looks like it will be locked in, so the mid laner for Relay going towards that assassin, as you said. The Lissandra is open though, and we know Chimera plays it.
Yeah, and I guess this is just really saying that if you decide to put Karma mid, then I'm really happy in this matchup. And worst case, hey, you pick Lissandra, it's a good matchup into LeBlanc, but at least we know that the Karma is probably going towards the bot. But from the looks of it, Rugby just decides to answer with the second best AD carry in the game, Aphelios. They kind of forced the right, which is maybe something that Nativz knows as well. They know that they're comfortable in playing LeBlanc into Karma, so they also know that if Rugby doesn't answer with AD carry, then they're gonna be less stuck with like the kind of the scraps of the bot lane. So yeah, really different comps. I mean, the AD carries are kind of similar, right? But the Hecarim and Karma, they can work really well together. If Chimera is mid as well, this Karma pick is gonna be scaling super well. I would say it almost gets better than the Soraka actually in the first game. Like you have this mantra shield like every 3 seconds every time you have E up, you have mantra basically in the fights when you're scaling. So this is it's gonna be rough for LeBlanc if she doesn't snowball, man. Because once these shields come out, it's gonna be they have so much burst damage, right, with the Graves and LeBlanc. If they can like negate this with the Karma and she's not behind, it's gonna be rough for Nativz.
Lissandra's going to be banned away. They don't want to be giving that opportunity for the counter pick, so they're also probably expecting the Karma to be going down towards that support role. And of course, as you say, Lundorf isn't going to be able to be on his Gangplank again, although interestingly, the Urgot is still available if Stumpy wants to call it a comeback. We'll have to see where it's going to be pitched and if it's going to be another top laner. Stuff like Camille, we know is a very strong pickup, so that's going to be instant ban away. And now, what are you going to want to do? Take away Chimera's Orianna? If you don't want to see that one into the LeBlanc, maybe go up towards that top side and take away something that Stumpy is comfortable on. The Gnar, there's the Urgot ban as we were talking about it. So we're going to have to see new stuff in the solo lanes.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting again. There is kind of both Ornn and GP banned out. Urgot kind of, as you said, they have to just now dig deeper into their pockets and see what happens. I expect Chimera to just pick up a mage, right? He could go for the Vex. It's kind of a counter to LeBlanc. He also goes go for another pick, but Gnar blind pick and Stumpy saying you have nothing that you can pick against me that is like a decisive counter, you know?
Yeah, it's just saying this is the safe pick in the top side. There's no Ornn to go up against it. Have fun bullying me with whatever you think that you've got in tow. There's no Camille either that you can't dive on top of. I'm thinking maybe Aatrox might be the option for Lundorf, just wanting to take the scrap to him. Yeah. But we'll have to wait and see, as we've got the support still to pick up as well. And when you've got a Jinx, there's Fresh as the option, but Lulu is also very powerful in this duo. So they're going to be locking that one in for clocks.
I mean, knowing Lundorf, I assume that this is going to be just a Jace pick, but I wouldn't say that it's good with their comp, really. So I just know it's a good matchup into Gnar. I do like the Lulu pick, though, just as you said. Jinx Lulu is just completely OP combo. I would respect this a lot if he just goes for the tank again and just says, hey guys, just play for bot. I'm going to be engaging for you this game, and it does actually. So Lundorf once again on a tank. Or,
and hear me out, fully Fallacy Scion, because he's like, hey, you can poke me, you can kill me if you want, but that's what I want you to do.
Legit.
I'm gonna murder you if you kill me. So keep an eye on Lundorf. I don't think he's going to do it, but it'd be very funny if he did. And we're gonna see Chimera on the Vex, the control mage that can also assassinate. So Nice round out there for Munster Gaming's composition, confirming that it will be Karma down in the support role, with Stumpy taking Gnar and Chimera on the Vex. And actually, the LeBlanc probably isn't going to love this matchup too much.
No, that's for sure. Really, again, just kind of picking for. I assume it's just for comfort because I actually assumed that they were gonna be just banning both Lysander and the Vex, but I guess they realized that, hey guys, I don't really have a counter into Urgot, so we had to kind of ban it. And now, as you said, Chimera is just really comfortable in this matchup. Is for sure a good one for him. And looking at the draft, like both wins are really explosive this game. It's kind of up to Merps and Baloo to like kind of dish out some poke in the early game and try to make something happen. They don't really have to kill them, you know, but it's really important in matchups like this in bot where both supports are playing like a ranged matchup. It's really important that one, you don't really leash for your jungle, and two, your jungle is, you're kind of forcing your jungle to path bot, because whoever gets the push in this matchup is gonna kind of keep it. I would give the favor to Jinx in this matchup because Jinx is just OP. She has one taps the wave. But what Merps and Baloo can do is that they can look just to trade. They know that they're not going to get push, so instead they just try to trade heavily level 1 onto these two champs, and then they get the push that way, because then Jinx has to kind of back off, you know, she has to stabilize, and that could give Gabrish like some breathing room on this Hecarim. What you don't want as Hecarim is when you don't have any prior lanes, because then you just get power invaded by the Graves. But in this game, it's going to be rough for Nativz to get early game lead, I think.
Well, I mean, the question being is if they want to play for that early game lead, because game 1, they didn't have it, but they won. Game 2, they had it, they lost. I'm not saying that winning early game is bad, because obviously it's not. But winning the early game hasn't won anyone the game so far this series, so yeah, maybe try losing the early game and see how it goes.
Yeah, maybe actually winning, it's like win lane, you lose game, you know? Like that's kind of
exactly
that's kind of how it goes. Yeah, maybe actually you're right. Maybe both teams decide to just kind of take a breather in this game. They just I hope their coach are telling them exactly what we're telling them right now. Guys, you don't have to stress it. You don't have to force stupid things early. You just have to kind of chill. They're both playing and like scaling comp right now, right? I'm really interested to see in like the first herald of this game, where it goes to and who it goes to. I would kind of favor Rugby on this, actually, because after 6 they have so much pressure with the Chimera and Hecarim. But again, as you said, both teams on this time around kind of a scaling comp. I'm gonna favor though Rugby, unless again Joppa gets ahead, because they do have LeBlanc into this Karma. I do feel like when they have like the Gnar, the Hecarim with the Karma, it's gonna be so rough for really if he does not get ahead in this early game to like actually make an insane impact. So it's gonna be interesting to see once again.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? You can say, look, bot lanes you can chill. There's no need. Top lane as well to an extent. You're gonna be very useful later. Don't worry about it too much. But for LeBlanc, really needs to do something in the first 10-15 minutes, or things are going to be very, very unpleasant for the LeBlanc, because she's going to dive in and get CC'd and murdered, I imagine, which is not necessarily what you want from your mid laner in the mid game, especially when you're on a character like LeBlanc. But if you can get a couple of kills early, suddenly you're blowing someone up immediately and being impactful, which even last game where Nativz lost, Relay was still consistently the one who was able to dive in and remove someone from the map.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's gonna be, I mean, once again, like really, he kind of popped off last game, even though they lost, right? And he's playing like kind of a similar champ this game. He has a lot of mobility, a lot of potential to assassinate if he's ahead. While you were talking about that, I actually saw that Rugby decided to leash, despite me saying that you should never do this in this kind of matchup. And again, the reasoning why is that the bot lane that gets the push early, they're gonna keep it. So now Joppa and the Clocks got the push for free because they did not leash. And now it's gonna be rough for Merps and Baloo to actually make something good happen in this lane. Like Karma is like one of the strongest champs level 1. You really want to use this, but now Joppa and Clocks, they're gonna be really just comfortable in this. They're gonna keep the push. They're gonna be super happy while Gabwesh is pathing up to the top side. And Snill already invading Gabwesh. He's gonna get collapsed on though.
He's gonna be forced to flash away. Doesn't get any of the chickens, and will have to run away with his tail between his legs. The nice aggressive early game play, the right idea, but the wrong execution.
Yeah, he was on level 2 of that, but Gabwesh already already cleared. Like now, Gabosh is so ahead in tempo already. He already cleared all of his bots at camps while Snille skipped his Krugs actually to make that evade happen. Doesn't get anything out of it. And this is actually the identical thing that happened in the last game. Gabosh is kind of ahead right now in tempo, which is always something you want to be on Hecarim. Let's see what he decides to do, because he's gonna have a lot of free time after this Krug camp to like do whatever he wants. Kinda, I assume he can't really go for the top grab. He doesn't push in neither like mid or top. But the thing is, Nativz also have the pushing bot, so Snille might be able to like get away with this this failure of an invade and get like a double crab instead.
Which would be. I mean, it's still not great to lose your flash, because as great as you like to have that one to close the distance for that last auto to grab yourself a kill. When it comes to, but it's just running through the mid lane, a little bit of taxation. Don't worry, it's fine. That was straight out of my playbook in solo queue, but now Snille might pay for his crimes as his Munster rugby coming on through, and he hasn't got a flash, remember, so it's going to be Chimera, it's going to be Gabush, and it's going to be First Blood Hecarim.
Damn. And he did have the prio in mid, right? Because he got it with the help of Willow. But really just wanted the base afterwards. I assumed that Snille just thought he could one-tap the crab, but Gabush and Chimera, they were so ready for that. Really well played. They know Snille have no flash. It's an easy dub. Actually, I would be... if it is a solo queue and I see my jungle is texting my mid wave and then he insta dies to enemy jungle, then I'll probably say to report him, right? But probably they had for sure something in mind, and really probably was just looking to get a base off anyway. So like Grace actually helping him push that is not the end of the world. No,
that's what we call in the business a tilter.
Yeah, that is
because you're just watching First Blood go over double buffs onto Hecarim. If it was onto Chimera on the Vex, that would have been exceptionally painful, but it is just refreshing nose on the horse, who will now be an impactful ganker, even more so in the coming few minutes. Down the bot side could look towards bot lane with Yopper and Clocks. Of course, Yopper on the Jinx in game number 1 absolutely popped off and was a driving force in Nativ's victory in that one. Of course, weren't able to continue that forward in game 2 where it was banned away. Now 1-1. Nativz not looking the most comfortable in the early games so far, but it's very, very early days. Dragon on the menu. It is a Hex tech to start us off, so these two teams want to start looking towards that one.
Yeah, and judging from this, like now that Rugby's ahead in the early game, they're probably losing this one, honestly. Like this is what we've been kind of developing.
Yeah, true.
It's kind of the meta in this series so far. But as you said, like Yoppa was such a driving force in the first game, and this time around he also has like the tool of the Lulu to his arsenal. And wait, there's actually so much fighting.
Lots of damage onto Baloo, who's going to have to be running full retreat, diving behind Murbs to try and survive. With the flash forward, the ignite, the kill from Clocks. As Murbs can't find too much, actually it's Flashway himself, gets the kill onto Clocks. It's Baloo's ignite that secures it. So it's a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day.
Super well played by Murphs to like make sure that he can finish off the kill. I'm not too sure if he's gonna be able to pick up this wave though. I guess he's gonna have to wait for Baloo. Then he's gonna help once again. He smites the melee creep to make sure they can get the wave in. He also gets a bit of extra gold for that gank. It is the like kills goes over to the supports, both of them. So that's like not too depressing. Both teams are kinda. I mean, obviously, like, if I'm Rugby there, I'm just kind of happy. Like, you're getting ganked, you trade 1-for-1, that's super good. They do have to blow all their summers, though. And Snille's flash is about to come up. Maybe Rille now, once he gets 6, maybe he can look to make something happen. But I assume that this next, if there's going to be a fight, it's going to be on the Herald. Honestly, that spawns soon in 1 minute.
Let's have a look at this fight. So, Baloo just stepping up, but Snille's in the bush, so Chompers once again. Oh,
that's painful.
That's got a sting, and Baloo, of course, pays for it with his life. Not before getting his ignite down onto Clocks, and Murbs just grabbing a little bit of damage down. A nice route too, and flashing away from the last bit of damage, and that's all she wrote.
Like, actually, Murbs played that like kind of pixel perfect. Like he was tanking all the Snilles. If he was gonna auto, he was gonna tank the auto. So Baloo could not die, forcing the flash from Clocks to make sure that Murbs can actually finish him off afterwards. So that was super clean by him. Baloo actually flashing into the Jinx shoppers. That's a tilter, as you mentioned. That's not something you want to see. Snille though actually being so active in this early game.
And Snille's going to be forced to flash away. Going to take a decent amount of damage regardless from the end of the line. And Lundor looking for the dive with the ignite rolling, of course, from the unsealed spellbook. Snille flashing forward, grabbing himself the kill, and Lundor survives as well.
Damn, that's actually his proof that Stumpy is in fact not unkillable. They actually get him, they get his flash as well, his TP is down. He's gonna be sad. I've never seen a Graves being this active in the game. Like he plays playing him like he's like a Lee Sin or a Xin Zhao. He's ganking so much left and right, and Gabush is obviously taking advantage of this. He knows that now he's 6, so he could look to start making some active choices to like gank, but he's just been keeping up in the tempo and in the farm, which is the correct decision by him.
Ooh,
now the Malum is kind of catching Yoppa.
He's in trouble though. It's 3v1. Yoppa needs to run away, flashing over the wall. Sniller and Clocks are still going to make up a numbers advantage, but it's Yoppa who has to throw down the ultimate. It gets a bit of damage, but nowhere near enough to kill Baloo as Murbs now crashes into the tower. But now Lundorf has wandered over to see what's going on, just to try and secure the red buff for his team. As Sniller should be able to grab this one. Baloo heads away, and no one dies at the end, but massive. We thought this was going to be a slower early game.
Yeah, I mean, we're just getting surprised every single game almost. Like, really surprised to see Lundorf actually moving as well. It's a smart move because he knows that his top wave is going to be fine regardless. He's going to be able to get most of this farm anyways. So a good pickup there from him to make sure that his team cannot get collapsed on. But as I said, both teams are kind of active. Gabush is just constantly invading Snille, and Snille is trying to gank a lot. He's actually already started the Herald, which is going to go down for free, I believe, because Gabush is, again, he's keeping up the tempo in the jungle. He's going to clear his camps, but this is going to give Snille over the Herald, actually.
Yeah, going to be able to secure this one. I cannot see any movement on that minimap, so should have just been Graves grabbing that one out of sight, out of mind, out of options for Munster Upper Gaming, as they're unable to put on any kind of show there. But Dragon still hasn't been touched by other teams, and it's going to be a late one, so clearly these two teams haven't been super interested in fighting over Dragons, I've noticed, in that we haven't got near to a Soul Either game.
Yeah, no, that is for sure. I guess the first game was kind of rough to get like a soul again. They got Nash in like 20 minutes, then they kind of end. But as you mentioned, none of the teams are really prioritizing drakes. They're prioritizing camps. They're prioritized to gank people, to get kills in the early game, and also the Herald, obviously. Now Stumpy, though, kind of fighting, but Snille is here once again.
Teleport coming up though for support. There will be Chimera joining the fray. Nice double stun. We'll keep him alive for a second longer, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much more than that. Burns out to the red buff, but Gabush is here now. And you can see Chimera running on through. Nice ornament to send Graves fleeing back towards his tower. Vex splatters through, gets the beer onto both as Snille has to ult to get away. Lundorf going low, but remember this is Sion. Nice double knock up as Nativz turn it around. Chimera grabs the kill though, a big burst onto Graves to make it a 1-for-1 exchange.
Damn, super, again, Snille just coming up kind of clutch. He's just ganking everywhere. Stumpy is not really ready for that, but Chimera with the instant, like the second Snille showed on the lane, Chimera TP. They didn't have ulti, but Gabush did, and they made sure that they could at least trade 1-for-1. I do want to take a moment though to talk about this bot lane matchup, but before that, actually I can do that. I think we're going into the replay of this top fight. You see Snille instant TP from Chimera. He doesn't have ulti, but Stumpy buys enough time for Gabush and Chimera to actually collapse, and I mean, by the start of this, I think Gabush actually eats onto a minion and then ults, which is kind of not what you want to see. That's a tilter, as you say, we call it in the business. But I guess they just thought they could just be happy, right? They could just back off. They could be happy with 1-for-0. But Snille just gets kind of, as you said, he gets kind of destroyed here and just gets kind of one-tapped.
Yeah, Chimera able to do so much damage on that Vex already. And now Nativz backing away from the bot side as Yoppa and Clocks are not looking too healthy. This gives Munster Rugby the opportunity to put a little bit of damage down. They've got Sniller down there. Earl is moving too. So LeBlanc could look to try and get something going. Gabush on the side just warding away any kind of flank. And it will just be recalls all around from Nativz. But Lundorf on the top side just going to be able to shove in a little bit. Naturally, Clocks wasn't able to get the recall off, so Teleport coming on through. A nice polymorph to stop Gabush from going for the engage as he's forced to dive back into jungle and wait for cooldowns. And with the ghost being burned as well, that's huge from Nativz.
Yeah, no, again, Lundorf has just forced him to TP down, and while they stopped the dive, right? But what I actually was gonna talk about before the replay happened is, while all this action has been happening on the top side, in the bot side jungle of Nativz that Graves has been putting out, Gabush has been just keeping up in farm. He's super ahead, but also Murbs and Baloo have just been playing this matchup in isolation for the last 5-6 minutes, and they've actually been taking 4 plates on their own. Like, there's only 1 plate standing on this bot tower, and that's kind of impressive to see, despite getting ganked early. And now it's just it feels like, sure, they're only 1.6k ahead, but it feels like the start. While I say this though, Stumpy again.
Stumpy's getting taken low by 3 members of Nativz. Snille just drops the Rift Herald mid fight, it looked like, just to get the charge and some gold, but Stumpy will be able to clear that one out as Baloo is in the wings. And Munster have now committed some members up to defend, but we were talking about this at the beginning of the game, saying, look, maybe it's an avenue for Nativz to go and shut down Stumpy. And that's exactly what they've been attempting to do, but he's keeping up in farm relatively well, and on this Gnar pick, you've got to imagine that he's going to be reasonably useful anyway. We're going to have a fight on top side once again, though. Yopper and Clocks, though, are the focus. Munster grab 2. Lundorf dives back through as Baloo up on the top side is going to be in trouble. Can't get away from the Lumberjack who cuts him down to size as Nativz run back towards the defense of their towers. But Gaboosh is there, just going to take out the minions. Chimera hanging around in Tribosh unseen so far. But Merbs wisely decides to back away.
Yeah, very wisely. I think he was just his sixth sense there, tingling that something was not right. Lundorf probably standing in a bush. Damn, Merbs did so much damage in that fight. He kind of one-tapped both Joppa and Clocks, and it just looks so one-sided for rugby. We mentioned before the series began, right? It's so important. Wait, before I say this, is Merbs gonna get caught? Oh no,
Do you know what it is?
What is it?
It might be the passive from Frozen Heart giving Lundorf away.
Oh, that's crazy. If Merbs is actually checking on that too, that's really crazy. I think
if that's how that works, that's 40 chess from Merbs.
Yeah, it is for sure. I mean, I hope so. Actually, I would probably ask him about that after the series. It would be insane if that was the case. I for sure, for one, would not check that. I might have sensed it, but I for sure would not check the Frozen Heart passive. That's really respectable if he did. Taking now a look though, we're like 40 minutes into the game. The plates are gone. We do see like the first mythics coming in. I think actually everyone on the side of rugby has their mythic except for Baloo. But we talked about the series, how important it is that the AD carry who is ahead, he's probably gonna stay ahead. And this time around, Merbs has been having like a kind of a shaky first and second game, I would say. He's been under a lot of pressure. But in this time around, he's 20 CS up. He got 4 plates on that bot tower, and he is already completed his mythic. He is super happy in this game.
Very strong, and for Joppa hasn't been able to complete his mythic yet, is down about 20 farm, and we know what he can do on the Jinx, and we know how strong Jinx is in the late game. But Aphelios is just in such a strong position, is now moved up towards this top side against Lundorf, who on the Sarn is just going to be on wave clear duty as much as possible while the tower is chipped away. And they might be committing members up. Nativz know this is a happy hunting ground for them, have taken down Stumpy on a couple of occasions up here, but it's going to be a Rift Herald that's the target. It's going to be Gaboosh who starts it up.
And right now the lanes assignments are kind of weird. I'm not sure if Nativz actually want to contest it. They have the TP on the LeBlanc. They could look to it, but again, Merbs is just so strong on this. They're for sure not going to want to force a fight. Gaboosh is also almost 40 CS up on this Hecarim. It's just been... I feel like Rugby are kind of starting to run away with this game already. For sure, it's not over yet. Nativz have like so much scaling on their side. As you mentioned, if Joppa can get to late game with his Jinx and Lulu, he's gonna be able to almost 1v9, like completely on his own. But right now, for sure, Rugby in the driving seat, and with his Herald, I assume that they're just gonna wanna take down the mid tower with it.
I think that could be the option. Whether Gaboosh is on the same page that we are, we'll have to wait and see. But he's currently hanging around topside, just clearing out his Krugs and getting himself a little bit more gold, because need to get a bit tankier to get those massive engagers down. Of course, Lundorf is pretty much already there, as he is just going to deny Merbs the ability to recall on a good timer, and it's going to be problematic, because actually you can see Joppa and Clocks moving on up, so there could be a dive in the offing, because Munster Rugby Gaming, they haven't sniffed this one out, they haven't sent any support up there, and I think Merbs is toast.
Yeah, then this is gonna be shut up for sure, unless Stumpy with the TP is coming
through.
in.
Nice ult from Merbs, dodges away, and actually survives. It's Clocks who finally has to take him down, as Stumpy is now 1v4 on the top side himself, but the health bars are much lower. The tower does go down though, so the objective was achieved. It was just very messy, and as you said, Boost drops the Rift Herald mid, will be able to get the charge on the tower. And actually could look to turn something around here, but Lundorf with the teleport just stops any kind of play from turning further.
Super weird sequence there actually, because I'm so confused on these lane assignments right now. Like Rugby, they are so ahead, but everything that Sion wants is to be like, Sion is super comfortable in these 1v2 situations against the AD carry. Like even though Merbs is ahead, he's playing as Sion with like Frozen Heart and top. It's like he's not gonna die. And then somehow Rugby just left Burbs on his own in the top side, and then of course Nate's gonna move there and try to punish him. So really good pickup there from Nativz. They're gonna lose tempo though over this Drake, and but Lundorf is actually on the bush. This guy is just perma in the bushes.
Just is not taking very much damage. So we'll go below half, but that's a lot of stuff, and just jogs away from any kind of players. Caboose on the wrong side of the map needs to be careful, but Graves is going to be warded off by Chimera. Second dragon on the map is an Infernal, and it looks like it's going to be Munster Rugby Gaming who'll be able to secure it, but Yoppa just killed Stumpy.
Oh, wait, what?
How?
Where is he?
What?
Where's that?
Why?
He's great. He died behind his tier 1, I guess. I guess he got shot. I don't know. This Stumpy he's super confident, right? We haven't seen this in all 3 games. Maybe there he was. I'm not sure what happened, but maybe he was a bit too confident. I assume we're gonna get a replay of that.
See.
Yes. Okay, so he's flying.
Having a great time. And then, okay, he just gets caught out by the chain, rooted up, and then I assume just a couple of big rockets, maybe an ultimate coming through as well.
Yeah, I think once he recalls, it's just gonna be a rocket on that. That's a good snipe there from Yoppa. I don't think. Oh, okay, actually he saw him with the creep, so that's kind of a cheater code, but that's really important. But
don't recall there.
Yeah, that's a tilter. Again, there's a lot of tilters in this game.
There's a lot of tilting,
Lundorf again standing in the bushes, is camping there. But that you could say that like Nativz, they didn't get anything from that. Stumpy just gave away a kill, right? But getting 300 gold onto the Jinx right now when she was like kind of behind, that's actually huge. And I see also, I kind of want to talk about items for a bit because Jinx is going for the Dominic second, which I really respect. This is what you should do when you're playing like against tanks. And it looks like Merbs is actually going for. I hope there's not gonna be a fight now, because this actually might take some time to talk about.
Okay.
You could, okay, so from every Philos I see, and there is like a lot of guides on it, you should almost, like in 100 out of 100 games, you should always go Infinity Edge third, because it just synergizes so much with your kit. So basically, going now, he's going for BT. That means if he's going IE third, that means he's not gonna have Dominic's until fourth item. And I think in last game he actually went for Dominic's third, that's kind of incorrect, I think, because again you lose so much damage with not having IE, like your crit amplifier on your blue gun, for example, when you're ulting. It's actually kind of a big deal. So going BT now second, it's something I don't agree with. Obviously Merbs, he knows what he's doing, right? He's playing the champ well, but could be something that could slow down his progress in the game for a bit, because now like this Lundorf on 2 items, he's gonna be unkillable.
We've seen top lanes unkillable before in this series, and it wasn't pleasant for the opposition. Now Baron has found his way onto the Rift. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Nasher. And Nativz, we're just feeling like maybe there was something going on up there. Munster didn't actually start it, but did have control, and now Chimera would just use that time to grab himself top tower and an additional 300 gold for his troubles. So just checking in on gold, 21 minutes in. It's a couple of thousand to the good for Munster Rugby Gaming. Looking at the lane assignments just to see where those gaps are. And really, it's mid and bot where we're seeing the advantages for the team on red side.
Yeah, Chimera just kind of had Gabash though. He's kind of getting caught, but he is the hacker, of course. Yeah, gonna be able to just run away. And we see right now, we see a classic like cross map, right? Munster Rugby, they have complete control of the top side, while Nativz, they're gonna go for the bot side. And I think this favors actually Nativz, because they want to slow down the game. They want to get Jinx to 3 items. Rugby are the ones that are still in the driver's seat, despite Lundorf being so like insanely unkillable on this Sion. If Jinx again can get the 2-3 items, then you can start to kill the Gabash and Stumpy in a team fight. And so like cross-platform for now is like really, I think, the way to go. I do believe now though that they just have to make a decision, because now they just got bot side. Rugby's gonna recall. They're probably gonna go to bot side afterwards, because they do want to get this third Drake, and maybe that's where we will see like the first actually big team fight in this game. We haven't seen a lot. We have seen a lot of skirmishes, but not like a full-blown like 5v5. Let's see if Nativz decides to contest it or not.
Around and grabbing themselves as much vision control as they can grab, with Graves playing bodyguard for Lulu, who's got those wards in pocket. But it's going to be fascinating to see what Merbs does in the next couple of fights. It's going to be the Bloodthirst to second, so it's going to be, as you mentioned, able to lifesteal away and a decent amount of damage to boot. Whether that will be the correct decision, we want to talk about after the game has finished, or at least after the next few team fights. But Gaboosh is thinking about an engage, can't really find an angle, and Lundorf, as you mentioned, doesn't really care about the damage that's coming out. He's just he's happy to just wander and face check.
He's completely unkillable. It's been like Merps has the worst combo in the game as well with his weapons. He does 0 damage right now, legit. Lundorf is completely unkillable, and he knows this. Look how he's walking up. He does not give an inch of a care, and they're gonna look to his control this river. Now Merps has the better weapons, that's good. But Lundorf, I mean, Nativz now they just have control of the river. It's so hard to go into this side. They're gonna TP it over. We're gonna see a fight probably.
Take this fight. It's around third Dragon Ocean, and Munster Rugby Gaming had themselves the first 2. Stumpy's now gone angry, has just come out of it, so not going to be able to be that big tank front line. Chimera on the backside needs to be really careful as Snille is going to chase him through. The ultimate from Jinx goes wide, but he is hit by the collateral damage as Caboose is just going to move back and try and grab himself the scuttle, actually smiting it away. So if Nativz clock that exactly, they're going to start up the Dragon, because they know that there's not going to be as strong a contest or steal potential. Look on the side, because Relay is causing a lot of damage just by being there, as Stumpy is called out by the Chompers trying to get an assassination down. Gabush goes through, but it's the Dragon secured by Munster. And now they're going to have to be in full retreat. Gabush goes down, more damage to follow. Merbs on the side gets onto Lundorf, but he doesn't take any damage. Baloo on the side gets deleted. Chimera goes golden, but is removed. It's just Stumpy and Merbs left to fight another day. It was actually Nativz who secured the Dragon. Snille grabbing it with the smite, of course, being the only one who had it available. But with 4 members alive versus 2, they're making moves up towards the Baron.
They decided to contest the Drake despite Chimera getting shanked in the before the fight even started. Stumpy used his Mega Nard, did not have it. Chimera used his ulti as well, and as you said, it was just a walk in the park there for Nativz and Lundorf. Like Lundorf is again completely unkillable. I wonder if Gabush is gonna be able to have time to go for this. They're kind of doing it fast as well, and Lundorf again kind of unkillable on this Scion. They're kind of shipping away damage though. Let's see if they can buy enough time for the team to come back. But it's 4k, it's gonna be low.
It's going to be very low. Stumpy's trying to get as angry as possible, but if he gets too close, he's going to go down. The Baron is going to be secured by Snille and Nativz, and now they're looking to try and take the fight, but Stumpy's about to go Mega. He will be able to get a nice ultimate. Chimera in the backline as well. This could be disaster for Nativz, but a couple of members are surviving long enough. Relay goes golden and dives back away, and now Lundorf's returning to the fight. They want to clean up as much as possible, but Gabush is going to have to dive over the wall with his ultimate. Moving back towards Clocks, will be able to secure the kill, and now Munster in full retreat, but that's Lundorf with the huge ultimate as Baloo running for the hills. Rilla dives forward to the last person standing. It's an ace for Nativz. They take Baron and can now make it pay.
The initial fight looks so good there for Stumpy. He got a 4-man ulti. Unfortunately, did not stun anyone, but they managed to insta-blow up Yoppa, who is the carrier for Nativz. But on the other side of that fight, Relay just completely blew up Merps as well, so there was actually no AD carries in that fight. And after that, Chimera was playing well. He was getting a flank off. He was kind of one-shotting people left and right, but at Lundorf ultimate, man, that was so insane. And again, this guy is completely unkillable. He doesn't really have to buy any MR because the Vex doesn't have enough damage to kill him. And we're gonna see a replay of this Drake fight. I just think that Robbie, they should have just left this because they just lose a lot of resources just to try to get into the fight. They didn't get the fight off, and now again, like, they just don't have the damage to kill them. When Gabush dies like this, they try to get the flank off onto Relay, but it's not enough, and you see Lundorf here is kind of face-tanking every single damage that Rugby has.
And you can see how much damage Yoppa's doing in this clip as well, and that's why I thought, hey, Yoppa's dead. This could actually be the time to shine for Munster Rugby. They chip away enough health, and yeah, Yoppa's pretty much untouched, but enough has gotten down that, hey, you can make a play. The teleport coming through from Vex was big. Watch Stumpy's ultimate here, because yeah, it doesn't get any... Okay, we're not going to watch Stumpy's ultimate, because we're into an invade, we're into an engage, we're into a kill already, as the first kill is picked up onto Merbs. Baloo is also going to go down, and Munster Rugby Gaming in their base, not looking so tanky, but Yoppa's fallen. Relay, that's just a clone, so don't worry too much about that one, as the inhibitor tower falls, and it looks like Nativz are going to try and take the inhibitor as well, but losing Jinx does stop them from pushing too much further than that.
Yeah, I think legit if Jinx survives that somehow, they could even look to make it an end, but wow, we really see Nativz, they are just so decisive when they have Nasher. They are not scared to pull the trigger at all. They actually even decide to dive on this tier 3 onto Merbs, and Merbs without flash in this game, against the Scion, against LeBlanc, it just feels so unplayable for him. It's super hard. Now we actually go back to the replay. Look, LeBlanc here onto Merbs. He's got completely one-tapped here in a second. That's crazy, man. It's super hard for Mervs to play, obviously, right? And as you mentioned, like maybe they could win this fight because Joppa also got taken down on the other side, but Ludolf is just, I don't know if Ludolf is unkillable. He has bought so much time for his team and this ulti, man. We have so many montage plays actually in this series. It's crazy.
And that ultimate just kind of left the rest of Munster Rugby Gaming hung out to dry. There was nowhere for the Baloo to go at the end here, and the Ace, the Baron, and the base cracked open as the inhibitor has been removed. However, Nativz no longer have a Baron buff to play around with. They're looking towards the Dragon. Would only be their second, but it would deny a third from Munster, which is always going to be a nice thing to do, especially when you've got this kind of lead. However, Munster Rugby Gaming, down but not out, and you've got to imagine that if a team fight goes slightly differently, they're able to pick up a win. They'll be right back in it.
Yeah, no, for sure. This game it might look gloom for Rugby, right? But as you mentioned, if they somehow get a pick onto Graves, that still has so much damage on these Graves. Because that's the con of playing Sion, right? You're so tanky, you can't die, but if your team dies, you don't have damage. So that's what they have to do. They just have to kind of get a pick. Chimera has to find some sort of godlike ultimate, or Stumpy has to find an angle with his ulti. And that's like kind of the winning play, right? Now the game is gonna slow down though, and this time around, Rugby is happy about that. We talked earlier about how the cross-swaps kind of evolved, and Nativz really made it work for them. They just kind of cross-swap. They knew that we're gonna be stronger at this point, then we're gonna win this fight. Now it's up to Rugby to actually buy some time. I mentioned how the Bloodthirster is gonna be. It's gonna be good for Mervs to like make sure that he can survive right against the LeBlanc combo, but saw in that fight that it didn't really matter. And Lundorf, there's so much focus on the top side actually in this series. We're talking so much like this game. Lundorf is completely popping off. Like he's just having such a luxury with building all these armor items. He doesn't even have to care about building MR because again, Chimera doesn't have enough damage to one-shot him. And Mervs now building towards Dominic's, which obviously he has to do that because he has to be able to kill the Scion somehow. But it's looking gloom for them. I'm gonna say Joppa is gonna finish his Infinity Edge really soon as well with his Lulu. That's just gonna be another insanely big threat on the side of Nativz.
Well, the question is how are Nativz going to close out, because we've seen how impressive they are when it comes to pulling the trigger and making the play happen. Will it be around the Baron? 45 seconds on that one could be an option.
Yeah, I would say so for sure, right? Like we have seen, again, Nativz, when they have Nash, they're not scared, and also when they don't have Nash, but it's just up, they don't even care about if the vision is perfect or not. They just decide to start and look for the fight. And I guess so, right? We're gonna see that he's actually waiting in base right now. That's not something you want to do as any player, but he actually is just waiting like 10 gold, so that's completely fine. Now, as you said, the IE completed, and this Jinx just became a whole lot a worse problem for Rugby. Now they have to kind of deal with another threat on that side. They have to kind of one-shot Snille somehow. They have to make sure LeBlanc cannot get a combo off onto Mervs or Chimera, and they have to make sure that Jinx can just not get a reset off and pop off. So there's a lot of objectives for Rugby to win a fight, but not impossible for sure.
Baron is now spawned, and Nativz have control over the river. They've got control over most of that half of the map as Lundorf, level 17. Just wanders back towards his team, doesn't notice that he gets auto-attacked a few times because it just doesn't register, and still they're just going to be playing vision denial control around the Baron area.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be surprised if Nativz just started to maybe push out this next mid lane and then just try to start it, because they have kind of the vision that they need. They would like some more vision maybe in the top side of the red buff, but for now they're happy. Snille just, I mean, again, like Grubby, there is playing without vision, right? Baloo is kind of forced to face like this, and soon they're gonna have to go into this, but they do decide to just take one more wave to decide to clear out the even deeper vision of Rugby, and now they decide to start it actually.
Bush is running forward, gets some vision, knows that it's been started up. Lundorf is just able to stand in that choke and just prevent anyone, and Relay is going to prevent Baloo from leaving this place alive. The shutdown from Chimera is massive, and now the Baron has to be peeled away from. Lundorf is just standing in the bush once again. It's 4v1. He's going to take some damage, but it's not going to be too much as the ultimate from downtown doesn't secure the kill, but the Zap gets the slow as Stumpy joins the fray. It's a 5v4 for the time being as Yopper going to get engaged on by Chimera, but nice ultimate from Clocks. Will Yopper be able to survive? He's fleeing, he's going low, gets a big shield, but turns around, gets the damage, gets one, resets towards Chimera as there's going to be a dunk going up to Murbs. Chimera's still alive in the backline somehow. Lundorf goes low, is unkillable for a second longer before flashing over the wall, gets the slash, but doesn't get the kill, is shut down by Stumpy. And just like that, Munster Rugby Gaming are back in the game.
That looks so grim for Rugby. They just completely sended it onto Joppa, who had flash and managed to survive, but I didn't even watch it, but Merb somehow got like a double ulti with his blue gun onto Joppa and completely just gapped Nativz backline, but Chimera is dead. Is it gonna matter though? They're not gonna be able to finish the Nash.
They're gonna care because Rilla's on the side and he's just killed Murbs. Now it's Sniller and Rilla, 2v2. Baloo's running for the hills. Stumpy's big, but can't get the stun down because Rilla is golden. But I think they're gonna be able to march off. So after all of that, Baron still stands as it's Nativz who make the return play.
I wonder if they're gonna be able to start up this Nash though. They are moving towards it. I think we're gonna get a replay maybe on this fight, but maybe we don't have time for that. Nativz they're not wasting any time. They just wanted to start this once again.
And they've got Yopper, they've got Clocks, they've got all 5 members. We're going to be able to get a little replay just to see exactly what happened, but Lundorf stays alive for such a long time, but it's just the one shot after the one shot. We've been told nope by the producer as the Baron has been started up. Nativz are just going to be trying to burn this one down. Yopper does so much damage. We can feel maybe there's a steal. He's over the side. What can Gaboosh do? They've got vision. The Baron has been stopped for the time being. Stumpy's deleted though. Will that be enough to secure themselves the objective? They're trying to clear out vision. They want to make this one blind if they can. Chimera's in trouble, but managed to get the root down. So much damage. Double kill for Yopper. And now Munster are going to be forced to back away from the safety of behind the pit. And now Sniller is going to put the damage down. They know where Gaboosh is. He's running through. Can he get the steal off? No, he can't. It's secured by Sniller. Gaboosh goes down. And Nativz, just like that, might have found their way to win this game.
Nativz they played us super patiently. They were so ready. Like they know that if they just don't 50-50 it, then Rugby is probably gonna make a mistake. They have to face it because they don't have the full vision control. And they just decided to turn. Really is just playing so well on this LeBlanc. He's permasing out of vision. Make sure to like one tap people whenever can. I think they're just gonna go for the end here.
Yeah, they've got Baron, they've got damage, Baloo's gone, and that's going to be Towers, certainly, if not the Nexus itself. The death time is a long, Murbs is toast, there's just one little yordle against the world, and I don't think Stumpy's got the facilities. He's going to be taken low and forced into his fountain. Doesn't even get the kill onto Lundorf as the Nexus goes boom. Nativz, match point, 2-1 so far.
Damn. Again, we just see whenever a team gets Nash, they just kind of snowball the game out of control, right? There was like a brilliant effort from Rugby though. They look so devastated. It looks so like they had no business to win that game, but that Nash fight was so insane. They just Murbs actually somehow managed to like one tap the backline onto Nativz, but as you said, it wasn't enough. They tried to start Nash after that, but really was right back up with LeBlanc, and he just gets a one tap there. Lundorf is there. He's just soaking up so much damage, and Nativz just brings it to match point. Honestly, well played.
Place in the final is at stake. One more win for Nativz will be enough. Munster Rugby Gaming need to win 2 on the bounce. I don't know if they can do it, but we're going to find out after the break.